video, we're going to show how to build a clock using Lively, using only about 7 lines of code to actually drive the clock. And we're going to do this by building up complex morphs, as we discussed in the last video. So first, I've already pulled in an ellipse, as you can see. I'm going to go and get a rectangle. Grab it and drag it onto the clock. Rename it hours. Make a copy. Minutes. And one last one. Seconds. Okay, and now I've set up the code to style this. Basically, what I want to do is, first of all, I want to move the origin. That's, if we drag this, you can see there's this little red dot. That's where this rotates by, and I want to move it down here for each of these 3 guys because I want them pointing straight up at high, noon to 0, and then compute the rotations to rotate about that. So we're going to write this little bit of code that does this, and all this is going to do is it's going to say, okay, set the origin to be the middle of the bottom. That's what this line says. With the morph, adjust the origin. Where get extent, which means get, and then scale by. Scale the x-coordinate by 50%, that's move it to the middle, and scale the y-coordinate by 1.0, that's move it to the bottom. And then, once I've done that, move it to 0, 0 on the face. The origin of the ellipse is right here on the middle. So this will move them all to move each morph to an ellipse, move it straight up. So let me first of all define that function. And now let's make these things the right size. The second hand is nice and long and thin. A minute hand a little shorter and wider, and an hour hand a little shorter and wider still. And now let's each in turn move them up to the, whoops, this guy's got the wrong owner. So let's grab him. There we are. Now he's got the right owner. 73 seconds. Let's see if minutes does the right thing, and hours does the right thing. So there we are. Now we've set them all to be owners, and we're ready to go off and talk about computing the rotations. Next slide. Okay, so here I've just left these things as before. Now the key to computing the position is to figure out how far to rotate these things. So for a second, 60 seconds goes around the whole way, which is 2 pi in radians. So I'm just going to write a little function that does it for each of these things, and what it's going to take is how far to go it, that is how many seconds, and how many units for 2 pi. So for seconds it'll be 60, for minutes it'll be 60, for hours it'll be 12, and so forth. So we just go ahead and define that script like this, and now we can ask what the rotations for minutes are for the current time, and it's 2.6. So if I now set, which is in radians, that doesn't tell me very much. Actually, I can say, what are the minutes here? Just like this. 25 minutes after the hour. So new date gets the current time. The date gets the current time in minutes. So it's 25 minutes after the hour. And if we set the rotation to be that, we'll see the minute hand points down to that. Okay. So now all we need to do is do the same thing for seconds. Do that again, and here it is. Now the hour hand is a little bit different because we move the hour 1/12 around for each hour, but then also we take the number of minutes and we compute, and we divide up that 12th into 60th, so that's where we get 720, and the number of minutes just adds a little offset to that. So we set the rotation to be get however many minutes it is and advance by 1/720th of the whole circle. And then get the hours, get modulo 12 because we do it 1 through 12, not 1 through 24. And so to put that into 12, so add those two things together, and that gives us rotations for the hours, and there we are. So now this is, we put a slightly more efficient version of this into show time here. So just get the date, set the rotation for minutes, set the rotation for seconds, set the rotation for hours to be the offset for the hours plus the offset for the minutes, and just set the rotation for hours to be that, and that's the efficient version. And now to show the time, just every second we call that and say show the time. And so here now the clock is running, and you can see it's about 8:25 in the evening. If I ever want to stop this, I could just hit stop stepping and it would stop showing me the time. And there we've built a clock in just 7